What's up, everybody, and welcome to ESO Daily. I am your host, Mr. Raven. Okay, so today I'm going to be working on stamina builds, the classes. But before I get into that, what this video is going to be about today is something very simple: how the new CP system affects your damage. Okay, just something so simple, because that's the question, since we actually got more extreme diminishing returns on something like Mighty and Elemental Expert. So I'm going to go ahead today and break this down for you, and we're going to go into the tooltip and just kind of explain and do a walkthrough. All right, guys? All right, so basically we're going to take a look at the tooltip first. So we see a Wrecking Blow. Now I have no CP points allocated at this moment. So initially, without any CP, we're looking at Wrecking Blow dealing 9,507 physical damage. Now what we want to do is we want to try to get this to increase, obviously. So the best way to go ahead and do it, and now I'm going to do a couple different things in this video to kind of show you what's going on. So we're going to go into the champion points, and our main focal point here at this point is because we're dealing direct damage. I want you guys to keep this in mind. So when we take a look at Master of Arms, we're just going to go ahead and pump it up. We're going to go all the way. Now, I would never suggest this, but I want you to see what it's going to go ahead and do. All right? So we're going to go Master Arms 100, right, guys? We're going to go back into the tooltip, and now we're up to 11,771 because this is a direct damage effect. It doesn't apply a dot effect, but it is direct damage, thus increasing my physical damage with this ability. Now what I want to go ahead and do now, I want to go ahead and go over into Mighty. Okay, so this is going to make up any difference, but we want to go ahead and once again, I'm just going to stack it all. I'm just going to go ahead and put as much as I can here. All right, so there's 100 into there. All right, now we're going to go into the skill again. Look at it. Now we're up to 13,129. So this is how we're getting our damage output from an ability like Wrecking Blow. It's between the two trees. Now keep in mind that one thing that also is going to play a factor, especially with stamina build, is going to be your penetration. Especially also with Magicka, you've got to take this into effect, because what this is showing you guys, when you take a look at the skill, it's showing the max amount that this can do prior to crit. All right, guys, that's important because now resistance plays a factor as a modifier to decrease the max amount. So what you have to do is try to get to 100% penetration as possible, so you can maximize the max amount of damage that you can do, which is 13,129. That's why penetration becomes very important in all your builds. But what we want to go ahead and do now is I'm going to show you how we're going to go ahead and just marginalize, and once again, this is important because of diminishing return, your damage output, and take into consideration other point placement. Now this goes across the board here, guys. So Master at Arms and Thermiturs applies to both Stam and Magicka builds, okay? Just for the record. So we're going to go ahead, and by a good rule of thumb, I try to bring this down to about 75. Because now what you're doing is saving 25 points and getting, 14%. You can bring that down a little bit more, but what's nice about this is 25 points, 14%, you're missing a 1% difference. That's it. It's kind of what you're willing to go out. Same thing with Master of Arms, if you're going with a burst build here. So I want to go ahead and I want to pump this up to about almost 23%, and that's 75 points. So now what I'm doing is I'm covering the distance between both, because I'm taking into effect the diminishing rate, and I'm maintaining 50 points to allocate. So what I want to do now, since we're resource lacked, we want to go ahead and take advantage of our weapon experts a little more during this meta. And I don't like using the word meta, but you definitely need to pay attention to this. So, if I'm going to do a nice weave, I might go ahead and put 25 points in. Now I want to go ahead and put into piercing, for example. That's as if I'm wearing a penetration set, right? So that's giving me an additional 3,000 physical penetration that I'm needing for stand build. Now I'm wearing Spriggans on this, so that's going to go ahead and take effect, be considerate as well. If you didn't have a penetration set as a stamina build, you might want to allocate more into piercing versus into mighty, right? So keep that in mind, guys. So now when we go ahead and we go back into the tooltip, we're down a little bit, but not a lot. Now, this is our cap. This is the max amount of damage we can do, but we've taken into consideration that we have now a penetration that will allow us to try to get closer to this max amount of damage. So what we're doing here, now, this is the one thing I wish Zos would do, and I'm just going to say this, Zos, if you would, is put how much penetration you have on the character sheet. How much physical pen you have and how much spell pen you have. This would be a benefit to all the players to know how much penetration they're looking at prior to any buffs applied or any other effects. So to see this on the character sheet is very important, Zos. So I'm stressing to you guys, get this in here, man. Get the penetration numbers in here. All right, that's all I'm asking for. But as you guys can see here, I'm wearing the Spriggan set. So this is kind of important because now I have 3,861 penetration on top, excuse me, of the 3,049. So just in this alone, I have 6,000 penetration. That's without any abilities being applied. So I'm going to go ahead and I just want to put this into you. Deliver this to you guys as far as how you allocate your damage. Now, if I wanted to go ahead and say I want to increase my weapon crit, precise strikes becomes important. So please take into consideration, you don't want to ignore precise strikes now, since you're going to have to do some weaving, a little bit more frequent weaving. So if that, if you want to go ahead and, put that points in there, you can do that. That does make a difference, especially when you're taking a look at what type of glyphs you're going to be using on, whatever. I'm running the master maul right now. So, yeah, so I'm running the Master Maul, and of course we take that into consideration with the Sharpen. So that's giving us additional 5,160. So between both sets, I'm looking at 6. Now I'm looking at an additional 5, and that's 11,000 penetration without any other effects applied. And this is kind of why I just want to go over this, guys, because you got to take all these numbers into consideration when you're taking a look at your damage output, how much penetration you have, how much is your max amount of damage, how you can allocate and still avoid the diminishing effects. All right. If you have any questions or comments, please post below. I do want to thank you all for watching. And once again, and always, have a nice day.